Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. I am in a little town called Tok, Alaska, and I'm here with Brian from Alaska Gun Shipping LLC. And you are involved. A lot of people don't know you can send your gun to Alaska from an FFL and come and pick it up in Alaska, and that's what you do.
Absolutely. Actually, it's from the customer to the customer, but handguns have to go between FFL addresses. So, for instance, it would be from John Doe, care of, let's say, Mitchell Supply, to John Doe in care of Wolfhawk Shipping. And we can't legally open the package because the customer is shipping it to themselves. So it's completely legal.
Right. So no one's ever going to knock on your door and say, what are you doing with that gun here? You've done everything by the book.
Absolutely. And it's not a transfer because the customer already owns the gun, because the transfer is going from one entity to another. So if it were, say, from Joe's gun shop to Wolfhawk Shipping, that would be a transfer.
Okay. I knew you could do this. I didn't know the details. So I called a gun shop in Anchorage. And that's what he told me. He said, no, it's a transfer. We can't do that.
Most dealers think that. About 90% of them think that. And there are a few out there that know that you can do this, but just choose to do everything as a transfer anyway.
Sorry.
And when I first got into this business, the ATF taught me how to do this. But now I've been meeting some ATF agents that don't know that you can do this. They just have to look it up. I mean, you can find it if you do a search on the internet. But,
right.
Yeah, I've had to educate some ATF agents on it, and they come back and say, yes, you're right, you can do this.
Okay. So this is a way, and the big thing is handgun. I mean, you can take a shotgun. A shotgun's a good bear tool. For most of us, this is bear. We're concerned about bear, and maybe self-defense. That's also a big deal against humans, two-legged predators, but mainly bears. But having a gun is really crucial in bear defense. You get a chest holster, and you got a good caliber gun here on your chest, and that's about as good as you can do.
Sure. And then there's also, smaller guns. People also, for personal defense, just feel more comfort in having a firearm.
Right. So my way to do it would be, I have a 10 millimeter that I would carry on my chest, and for around town. You don't need a CCW here in Alaska.
That's
Anyone
right.
can carry concealed.
Or openly, either way.
Or openly, either way. And I've got a little 380 that is tiny. And I can literally put it in my pocket. So I would ideally get both of those up here.
Yeah, outstanding. Yeah, you can put them both in a flat rate box. Keep the shipping, reasonable.
Okay. So if they want to find you because you know what you're doing, and so many don't, how will they find you if they're in Timbuktu, if they're somewhere in the middle of America?
AlaskaGunshipping.com or Wolfhawk Shipping. Either one will come up.
Spell that out. Wolfhawk?
Yes, just like the animals. WOLFHAWK, or shipping, excuse me. And then the other one is AlaskaGunshipping.com.
So just look those up, and then on your website, you'll give them all the information they need.
Yes.
And you do have a preferred dealer you like to receive from.
Yes, we have a list of preferred dealers. I think we're up to 22 throughout the country. And they will treat your gun as your gun and not as a transfer.
But there are 22 of them, and most people can find one that works directly with you and knows how to do it.
Yes, and every one of them has made a mistake at least once that, in the labeling, because the labeling is very important, but they all know it now. And this is the problem with using your own dealer. If you can find one that's willing to do it as a non-transfer, they also have to tell us in an email that they will not treat it as a transfer, but they will probably mess up the label. Or there's a good chance, although there are more and more dealers that are learning of this process. And that's how our list of preferred dealers is growing. And Tok is basically the first civilization you come to. And you have to go through Tok to enter the state.
Yes.
And the other thing is it takes roughly 4 days to drive through Canada if you're pushing it. And the mail takes 4 weekdays. So that can actually stretch to a week, a full week if a weekend gets in the way.
Yeah. So it's just a really good thing. If you want to have a firearm, and you can do long guns, of course.
We can, but you don't need an FFL to do a long gun. You can send a long gun from yourself to yourself in care of a resident of the state. So if you have friends or family, they can receive it for you. You don't even need us for that. And unfortunately, most dealers won't tell the customer that. But if you don't have friends or family, we would be happy to receive them, and then you can ship them yourself.
Right. Okay. Good. Good. But for most of us, it's the handguns because they're cheap and easy to ship. And
right. And it's you know, when you get into bear country, you don't want to lean your shotgun up against a tree and have the bear between you and it. And if you have that gun right on you, that's the most comforting way to be trouncing through the woods.
Right. You want instant access 24 hours a day. And with a chest holster especially, you literally have it. You can put it on in the morning and not have to take it off until the end of the night. So that is really the way to go. But it's really important for people to know that a handgun's underpowered, except all but the biggest. And most of us aren't going to have one of those because they're just too much gun to shoot.
Right.
The bullet that you buy is super important. So do you know much about that?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm a firm believer of using like honey badger or underwood. There are a few others out there with a little research you can find out on those. But plus P is a good, or double plus P, and you got to be sure your firearm can handle it. But I have a friend that has actually killed 3 black bear with a 9mm with good honey badger ammo. So
it is possible, and I chose a 10mm as bear defense. It's a little more gun, and commonly available. You want a really hard cast bullet, no expansion, because it's got to break through huge bones on a bear and the layer of fat, and then get in and penetrate. And so that's why these bullets they're higher powered, the plus P, and they also usually have a very hard cast penetrating bullet.
Yeah. Now on shotguns, I wouldn't recommend a standard slug.
No,
you know, they have good Brennecke rounds that are rifle slugs. They're a little more solid. There's sabos that are very good. But a standard cup slug is not recommended. It'll mushroom out too quickly. It'll basically go under the hide and just stop there. So
they make guns, slugs that are designed for bears and heavy penetration.
And hunting. Yeah, they're very good rounds. They have a good range, and they're very powerful.
So good. And those are the 2 guns most people are using the most. They've got a handgun or a shotgun with slugs.
Or a short 45-70.
45-70s. Lever action is one of the very best you can have. Yeah. So it's if you're thinking about buying a gun to have in Alaska, then, and of course the problem is you can't come, if you're not an Alaskan resident, you can't come to Alaska and buy a handgun.
That's correct.
You got to ship it, buy it in your state and ship. So that's where you come in.
That's it.
That's where you come in. So if you're concerned about that, and it's completely reasonable to want a firearm on you at all times in Alaska. They're everywhere. Bears are everywhere. Now, if all you're ever going to do is go to Anchorage, then it's less of a big deal. Although you might want a self-defense concealed carry gun for that. So you'd be very glad to have that as well. Okay, so they can go to your website. Tell the website again.
It's alaskagunshipping.com.
And there you'll have a list of the 22 preferred.
Yes.
You can ship from an FFL dealer. An FFL is Federal Firearms License. They have to be approved with an FFL. But they're not preferred. You can ship from him. Yes. It's just going to be harder.
Yes. And you have to do the search to find one that is willing to do that. And then once you do, have them email us a copy of their FFL and also a statement saying that they will not treat your firearm as a transfer. Right.
So it's just a little harder. It's more hoops to jump through, but it can be done. And then they'll ship it to you, and you'll get into Tok. They'll come in when they cross into Alaska. Tok's the first place they come to. They stop here and pick it up.
That's it.
That's it. That's simple. Well, Brian, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And we'll talk to you on the next video. And until then, have a good time.